Okay. So when we're talking about domain and range and whether or not something is a function, some things to keep in mind. When we talk about domain, let's make notes here. So domain is only worried about what's happening to the horizontal aspect of your graph. Okay, so basically it's just taking away all the different y values, and all it wants to know is what your graph is doing when it goes from left to right. Okay, that's all it wants to know. And in other words, it's basically just wanting to know what's happening to your x value. Okay, and when we talk about range is basically the other coordinate. So instead of being concerned about what's happening left to right, it's concerned about what's happening from the bottom to the top, or other words, what's happening to your y value. Okay, and then whether or not it's a function, the definition of function basically functions only have one output for each input. So in graphs, x is always considered our input. So in order to be a function, an x value can't have more than one y value. There's an easy way to test that. Oh, sorry. That was very nice. There's an easy way to test that, and I'll go over that when we get to these graphs. Easy way to look at that on graphs. So first of all, when we are looking at these graphs, if I want to figure out what's happening to my domain, I want to think about what's happening from left to right. So if I look at these lines, you'll notice there's little arrows at the end of these lines. Okay, so the little arrows means that it goes on forever in that direction. So this line is going forever in this down, left diagonal kind of direction. So forever going this direction. And then it's also going forever in this up into the right direction. Okay, it's going forever that direction. So if this goes forever this direction, if we just think horizontally, it's going slightly to the left forever, right? We're going to the left forever. Forever means it's going to end up being at negative infinity, right? So the least number would be negative infinity. The greatest would be positive infinity. And this is, if you guys recall, interval notation, where you put your least number and then your greatest number in parentheses there. Okay? And another way you can think about it is if I were to squish this down to the x-axis, I'd basically just have a horizontal line going forever to the left and forever to the right. All the y values, that's what my x values are doing, right? Forever to the left, forever to the right. Okay, range. Again, these are the y values. I switch it down to the y-axis. Basically, I would have a line going forever to the negative direction and forever to the positive direction. So again, it would be negative infinity and infinity. Okay, and then to determine if it is a function or not, we can do what we call the vertical line. We draw vertical lines, and these vertical lines only intersect with the graph line once. Then it would be a function. That means that for each of those x values, there's only one y value. If it intersects more than once, it will not be a function. You'll see all these lines just intersect once. So this is going to be fun. It is a function. Okay. Let's look at another example here. Let's look down here at the dots. So with dots, we can't actually do the interval notation because it's not a interval. They're specific points. It's not a continuous line. Interval notation is saying this is the least value and it includes every value in between these numbers. Okay, so this is basically saying it covers every number. But since these don't actually cover all these numbers in between, we have to do something a little bit different with dots. So again, domain is just worried about the x values. Okay, so I'm going to do like the little squiggly bracket because I'm not actually doing interval notation. And since domain is just the x values and these are single points, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to order them from least to greatest, all the different x values. So at this point, it's negative 6. So negative 6 would be the least x value. The next point right here is at negative 5. The next one is at negative 2. Next one is at -1. Next one is at +3. And then my last one over here is at 6. And then I'd close that off with a little squiggly bracket. Okay. So those are just all my x values in order from least to greatest. So in order from left to right. That's how the x-axis works, right? Left to right. Left would be least, right would be most. Okay? And then I do the same thing with the y values. But instead of going left to right, I'm going to go from bottom to top. Again, least y values bottom, greatest y values top. The least y values right here at -6. The next least one is going to be at -4. And then the next one would be at -1. Then I've got 1 at 2. The next one is at 4. And then the last one is at 7 there. And then I've got another squiggly bracket. Okay, so then the last thing I need to check for is if it's a function. So again, I'm looking to see if any of these points share the same x coordinates. And looking at all these points, nope, none of them do. So this is going to be a function. Okay. And then my last example here for domain and range. Let's look at this little square here. So this little square, let me darken it so you can kind of see it a little bit better. This is a little rectangle, not a square. Right. Okay. A little rectangle on my graph here. So again, domain is just x value, right? If I squish this down to the x-axis, my least x value is going to be right here at -2, right? So -2, and then my greatest is going to be over here at 5. Okay. So one thing that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet is if we are dealing with these whole numbers, sometimes you're going to run into, or most of the time when you have a whole number here, we want to include it in our interval, right? Because it actually reaches -2. So to show that it's part of my interval, I use a bracket. Okay, so that means that it's equal to. We don't use brackets with infinities because you can never quite equal infinity. That's why what parentheses means. You can get close, but never quite equal. Brackets means it is included, it is equal. Okay, and then my range, if I look, my least y value is going to be right up here at 4. And cross it out when I darkened it. So that would be at 4. So my least y value is 4. And my greatest is going to be up here at 6. So again, brackets for that. And then let's try to see if this is a function. If I draw a vertical line, how many times do these vertical lines intersect with this rectangle? Oh, look, they're hitting it multiple times, right? Multiple times means that for each of those x values, there's more than one y value, which means this is going to actually be no fun. This is not a function. Okay, and that's kind of the gist of domain and range.